good morning and welcome to everybody on this frigid Monday morning. If you're looking for a little motivation in the midst of a cold season here, you found it here with the ESUCC. And so I'm Andrew Easton. I'm really grateful to Jen McNally of ESU 5 and Doug Kittle of Aurora Public Schools and Emily Haig of ESU 9 for joining us for this Monday Motivation. So that being said, I always kind of pivot and allow Jen to do our introductions. And so Jen, tell us a little bit more about Doug and Emily.
Em, do you need to stand up again on your
That's my rights shut off again. There they are.
Okay, now we can begin. So good morning, everybody. So welcome to, this is our third of 10, right? So yeah. I'm really excited this morning to introduce to you two people who I'm so incredibly honored that they said, yes, Jen, we will for sure be on this 10 perk series. And let me tell you, I know the last two ones we did, Brandy and Heather, I spent a little bit of time telling the why I chose these people. So let me begin with Mr. Kittle. Mr. Kittle, good morning.
Good morning.
Are just like, yeah, Mr. Kittle's the bomb. If you had to Twitter, you would have seen Dr. Adler retweeted best educator out there. Did you see that, Mr. Kittle?
I did. That was humbling.
We're all fans of you. And I just want to tell a quick story. I got the opportunity to really get to know Mr. Kittle a lot this past fall. And one of the times that really stands out to me, I was out there multiple times, but one of the very first times I was there, this is what happened. The bell rings, we're in a hall. Mr. Kittle's to my left, it's me, Emily, and there are some of the other admin. And as all of these kids in his building were walking by, and I know that admin do know people's name, but it went farther than this. He knew every single kid's name in his building. He knew something about them, like probably 10, 15, 20 different times in that passing. He was like, hey, how'd that go? Or how was your weekend? Or, hey, I heard you did this on that test. Great job. Or then he leaned into me and he was like, I'm really proud of that kid right there. They've come really far and they've worked really hard. And goosebumps. I always get so many goosebumps. And I was like blown away. I felt like maybe I was in that awkward introvert thing when he and I were standing by each other, because I was just like so speechless about how powerful his interactions with and kids. Not only did he engage with kids were like, they couldn't wait. It was like Doug Kittle's celebrity in the hallway passing. It was like high fives, elbows. I was like, hey, Kittle. And if you talk about cultivating in a climate and culture, Doug Kittle to me is the absolute best at it. And with his teams, I presented to his teams, his kids, everybody. He just believes so much in people and their individual strengths and what makes them who they are. And I just couldn't be more impressed by you, Mr. Kittle, and thank you for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me, Jen. I appreciate the kind words and look forward to visiting today.
Yeah, and then right below Mr. Kittle, we have Emily Haig, who is a mental health clinician for ESU 9. But prior to coming to ESU 9 this past year, she was actually a school counselor for, over maybe 10 years, Em?
Mm-hmm. Well, in the schools for 10 years, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I have known Emily actually for over 15 years. She started out as an intern at a place where I used to be an admin at. And then she went to schools and I went to schools, and it's really cool how full circle this moment is for me, inviting her here. But the one reason that I am so impressed by having Emily here is that she gets to work with Aurora Public Schools and very closely with Mr. Kittle and their administrative team at Aurora, with great superintendent, Jody Phillips. And Emily demonstrates exactly the philosophy and the integrity and the leaning in to what it means to do mental health in schools. She not only looks at how kids are feeling wellness-wise, but she takes an approach that I am very passionate about in a Wellness for All initiative. She looks at kids, every educator in the building, because as we all can attest, all of you watching, pre-pandemic or not, being an educator, whatever role you play, it can be stressful at times. It can have lots of things that feel like a mountain, and taking steps. And Emily helps those kids and those educators see that mountain and take a step every day. And so again, goosebumps, Emily. I'm so honored of the work that you do and the impacts that you're having with kids in the districts you serve. And it's going to be a great morning.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Made me add tears a little bit. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And that's what these sessions are all about. Maybe not tears, but tears of joy, tears of like to go along with the good vibes that we're sharing. And so we're excited to delve into the quote that Doug Kittle has picked for us this week as our quote of the week. Coming. All right, Doug, thanks for picking out this quote. We'll have you read it for us and then share a little bit about why you selected this as our quote of the week.
When asked if my cup is half full or half empty, my only response is that I'm thankful I have a cup. And I'll tell you what, this when I ran across this here probably about a month ago, it really spoke to me because I think we're all guilty of maybe having the pity party or maybe only looking at the negative things that are impacting our life or our students' life. And we forget to take a look at what we do have to be thankful for. And I know we've really stressed this with our students the last 9 months since last February, March, when the pandemic hit, about not taking things for granted and to make the most out of every situation, because we never know when things are going to change and we're going to lose those things that mean a lot to us. So we really jumped into the mental health piece for students in the last couple of years in our district, and we've kind of amped it up a little bit more this year. And it's something that every district and every school administrator, teacher, parent is facing. And I think we just need to take a long, hard look at ourselves and what we're doing and dwell on the positives.
I love that, the dwell on the positives instead of dwelling on all the what ifs, like keeping it forward focus. And I love that you ended with that. It's such an amazing quote.
Yeah, Jen, sorry, I lost connection there for a second. I missed some of that.
Oh, that's all right. Emily, I'll ask, what are your thoughts on the quote, I guess? How does that kind of hit your heart?
I mean, I think thinking about today and just myself, I think I needed that quote for myself today. I think I was struggling with a little bit of a sour attitude today with this cold weather. And so I think we can all use that. We have to think about the positives. Sometimes I think, just like Mr. Kittle said, people can sometimes focus on the negatives, but then we have so many great things to be thankful for. And something that I've kind of taken from Jen and working with a lot of the students that I work with is thinking of those, name 3 things that you're proud of that you've done today. That's something that I do with my own children at home, but something that I do with students here at school. And when I first ask those questions of them, they really struggle with naming 3 things. And usually it's pretty materialistic. Well, I beat a level in a video game, or I don't know, but it's pretty surfacey. And then after we kind of keep making it a practice, it dives deeper and they find some things that they are really, really proud of. And I think that goes along with this quote of, like how full and how proud can you be of something, and keeping that forward focus and that optimism. And I think it's great. I don't know if that answered the question or not, but
yeah, that did. It totally did. Jen, what would you say as a follow-up to that as you're processing that quote?
Well, I think it's just spot on. We don't always sit in recognition of ourselves and the things that we are proud of. We tend to think about the things that maybe didn't go as well in the day, or things we made mistakes about. And mental wellness, when we're talking about motivating and setting intentions and standards, it's extremely important. And I talk about this a lot. And thank you, Emily, for that. Is how much, we can sit and think about, what are we proud of? Because even in a pandemic, if we look back, at the time, it's like that quote, that visual quote we see, it's all like all these roads and it's all messy. And I think I've said this before, but in hindsight, you look back and you think about how powerful and creative and lots of pride and love and hope, community and joy that our Nebraska school districts and districts across our country are doing for each other to help moving that forward and finding joy. So I totally agree with what the quote and what Emily's reframe for that is.
Yeah, and we'd invite folks to continue to share in the comments as we can bring those in, as you're seeing here from Lee and Jamie and Kelsey, as folks are sharing how these words have hit them. I'll share my own in saying that I am really lucky that in setting up the graphics, I get the quote ahead of time. And so I actually had that going into this past weekend, where I had a bit of a challenging weekend on a personal note, in that my uncle passed away the previous weekend. And so we were attending funeral services this past weekend. And so I certainly thought about that quote from a very I don't want to say a dark, but just from like a heavy place, and that it is a blessing to have a cup. It is a blessing to be able to even endure times of hardship, as I did with my family this past week. And it was very much a celebration of life for my uncle. But at the same time, I think when you attend things like that, you start to really weigh what matters. And yeah, I really appreciate that quote, in that it kind of almost gets back to that get to versus have to thing, where sometimes we kind of see things as being negative or half empty, when really it's like, hey, you still get to do this, even if it's not necessarily something that you're geeked about. So yeah, thanks to Taylor here as well for weighing in. Gratitude, perspective.
Taylor, you know who Taylor is.
I paid her.
Oh, that's awesome. With that being said, I think I was trying to click to where, there we go. We're going to go ahead and pivot now into a little bit of our leaning in. All right, and so Jen, kind of start that off for us, if you would. Leaning in, right? So what are we doing with this particular segment, and what are we all going to share?
So leaning in is all about kind of what you're looking forward to for the week, something that is going to spark joy. We've said that many times over the last couple lives we've had. And my leaning in this week is, I'm so excited. On Wednesday, when it's not 8,000 below, I'm going to be headed to actually Aurora Public Schools. They are doing a huge mental wellness event for all of their students, right? 9th through 12th grade. And I'm so honored. They asked me to come and speak to their seniors and talk about the importance of implementing mental wellness into their lives. And that is something, the little things are the big things. And I haven't been able to really speak to students. The last time I was supposed to was pre-COVID. And so this is the first time I'm back in front of kids in other districts, and we've started presenting to staff again, and I had the pleasure of presenting this last fall to Aurora staff, and I just can't wait. That's my lean in for sure.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you. The day it'll be a great day, and like you said, Jen will start off as our keynote, and then the seniors will move into 4 breakout sessions, right, Mr.
Yes.
Kittle, and focusing on just all around mental wellness and kind of preparing them for life outside of the walls of their family and how to take care of themselves. And it'll be great. We're really excited. And like Mr. Kittle said, we're hoping to continue this and make it bigger and better each year too. So
yeah, I guess we are really looking forward to it. And I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to watch the I Love Public Schools video 3 here that came out this last week, but that really hit close to home. And, even though we're a district of 1,300 students, we're seeing the same things that bigger districts are seeing, just on a smaller scale. And, as that video, as Brandy mentioned in the video about it probably isn't the school's job to worry about the mental wellness of students. It has become the school's job to worry about mental health with students. And I think this is one small step that our district can take to make sure that we're providing opportunities for our kids that are struggling with issues. And these issues have become very glaring to us from about the time of the pandemic when we went remote. And we had students that were struggling with mental health issues that we didn't even know were having issues. And so it's become very glaring to us that we need to do something. And so we're more than appreciative of having Emily on staff and having her in the district 3 days a week and just trying to help students, because there are not a lot of resources for students in public schools that are out there. So we feel very fortunate to be able to not only have this day, but to have Emily on staff.
Oh, my lights went off again. Sorry.
I thought you were raising the roof.
That's more of a leaning back necessarily, kind of a. So with our let's slow down enough. I want to slow myself down enough to say that I Heart Public Schools film is incredible, and I was really grateful for the opportunity to not only got the chance to watch it, but we did a podcast that came out last week through our ESUCC podcast where we talked to the directors. And some of their marketing for Heart Public Schools, and they've obviously been incredible in that aspect of their work as well. And it was cool to just have 30 minutes to learn about their heart behind the work that they're doing and the efforts that they made to bring that film together. And I always am one to like the director's cut when I'm watching a DVD and those kind of things. So it was really great to have those insights. So check out the film, moral of the story. Emily, do you have a lean in for this upcoming week that you're kind of going to focus in on?
Same thing, this senior day. I'm really excited about it. We're bringing in another therapist from ESU, the ESU that I'm at, ESU 9, another one from ESU 5, and then a medical professional from the Aurora community, as well as a fitness and nutrition professional from the community. So just trying to kind of make it well-rounded and have people from different areas focusing on mental wellness. And I'm really excited about it, excited to see how the kids are gonna take it and run with it and soak it in. And I'm really thankful that the administration, Mr. Kittle especially, is just so willing to bring in mental wellness and focus on this for the students, because I think sometimes it's really scary, to think about this. And I think sometimes districts say, this isn't our job, this is the parents' job. And Mr. Kittle embraces it and says, this is us. This is how we're going to help these kids. And he is always open to hearing about it and working together and figuring out, what can we do to make our student body and our staff as good as they can possibly be. And I am just really, really thankful for that. So, yeah. Big heart. Big heart.
I can say that when we had Jen at the beginning of the year, and she came out and had a great presentation, real positive feedback from staff, and to have her come back on Wednesday is awesome. It's going to be an awesome experience for our students. But one thing that I think we were guilty of as an administrative team was maybe focusing on students 100% and having the mentality that staff would take care of itself. And so Jen really opened up our administrative team's eyes as far as, we need to make sure we're taking care of our teaching staff and our support staff just as much as we're taking care of our students. And so we appreciate that, Jen. This is the eye opener that you provided us at the beginning of the year administratively to make sure we're taking care of everybody that comes in through our door, whether it's staff or students.
Okay, I'm not the one that's supposed to get choked up here. That's my job to do to you. Thank you so much for that. That means the world. Coming from you, Mr. Kittle, that just means the world to me. And so thank you so much for that. I value that so much coming from you.
You bet. We appreciate all you do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I know something to just build upon your point there. I think it would be to say that for our administrators as well, right? I think our administrators have been navigating pretty much a constant state of needing to be adaptable and flexibility and scenario changes for the better part of 18 months straight now. And so that's why we want to have the lean in conversation. Like we have to be intentional about the things we're doing to take care of ourselves and the things we get excited about. And Mr. Kittle, what would you say, in addition to the event that's coming up this week, what's something that you're considering kind of leaning into?
I tell you what, I'm one of those strange administrators that really loves the start of a week and kind of mapping out where we're heading. And we've got a huge week with activities this week with girls sub-district starting tonight, state wrestling this weekend. And it creates an extra buzz in the hallways this time of year, which I love. I love seeing our kids compete in whatever it is, whether it's the fine arts or athletics, whatever it is. And just we're hitting that time of year that I really love. I love the end of the district time. And we got a big musical coming up here at the middle of March. And it's an exciting time. And I for one snow day a year is great for me. When we're in 3 and 4, then that's overkill, so I'm really looking forward to Wednesday, like Emily said, and it's just every day is an adventure. And that's one thing I like about school administration is you can have your checklist of things you're going to get done today, and at the end of the day, they still may be on that checklist, and you haven't, because every day is different. And one thing I'll say about having a mental health practitioner in the building. Is Emily's done a great job of making sure that our admin team is taking care of itself. And that's one thing that I would say that I know they're probably not listening because they're working right now, but really blessed with a great administrative team to work with. And I think we would all agree that when we went into the online learning last spring, we spent way too much time together. And it was a good thing that we got along so well. And enjoy each other, because it was pretty much been nonstop since March for us. And I cannot say enough good things about the guys and gals that I work with on our admin team. But one thing that I think we're all guilty of administrative, like I said earlier, is making sure we're taking care of ourselves. And it's been great to have Emily coming in and checking in on us and making sure that we've got a voice and that we're taking care of ourselves.
Gosh, and everyone's going to have their moments that are challenging. So I'm not trying to share the second part of this without acknowledging that at first, but the resiliency of educators in the midst of all this has just been tremendous, right? Like you said, I've spent so much time since March just inundated with so much, and to still be excited for what's coming up this week and actively looking for opportunities to help other people is the culture of education in Nebraska and on a local level and across the state. And I get geeked out just thinking about it all the time. And it's so awesome to see that and hear more about that. And actually, we have a comment where some folks are interested, and I'm not sure we have to have an answer for this right now, but the thought of, is there any way to get like a highlight reel or something from what goes on? We'll be trying to, I'm sure folks will share out what they're able to share out with all that, but people want to be a part of those conversations, which is terrific. You may have seen the comment from Dr. Adler. And so thanks for tuning in. And it's awesome to see everyone just really looking forward to things later this week. I will share just very briefly as a lean in to take my turn, and then I'll let Jen bring us home. But within the ESUCC, we did a one-word resolution for the duration of this school year, and my word was listen, because I don't do a very good job of taking care of myself as much as I like to just run and go and pour out for other people. And so this week, I'm going to do my best to try to listen and take one self-care moment a day where I'm going like, I'm going to stop and do this thing so that like I can just have some good vibes. Mine was this today, if I'm being honest. Like I got to get to work. I got to get things started. Slow down, go through the drive. I don't care that there's 10 cars in there. Like just get yourself a nice cup of Joe, get things started. So I would encourage other folks to lean in and find those moments that just kind of bring a smile to your face and look out for you in the midst of your week. So Jen, what would I'll go ahead and let you bring us home.
I mean, it's just another great way to start off our Monday. You talk about resiliency, and resiliency, is a key factor for self-efficacy, right? Which is that feeling of moving from I think I can to I know I can. And if anything with Mr. Kittle and the admin that I've seen his school and his educators do is they really focus in on we think we can to we know we can.
Absolutely.
And that is the power and just the love and joy and just admiration I have for Mr. Kittle and their entire team at Aurora. And I'm so honored that you are here today. It has just been incredible having you in here in the discussion. Emily, couldn't be more excited to see where you'll continue to move with mental health in our districts. And it's great. So that's my closing. Unless Mr. Kittle and Emily have anything. I'm not really great at mic drops. I'm more of just sitting here trying to find words and being so inspired.
Jen, I think you hit it right on the head about, I think every school district in the state started with their fingers crossed. And I think as we got into the school year and realizing that, you know what, we can make this thing work and we can have activities and we can have as close to normal as possible. I think that really, I know for us at Aurora, it relieved a lot of stress, knowing that we got to find a way to have activities and concerts and conferences and everything else. We just rolled up our sleeve and said, let's figure out how we're going to get this done because we know it's good for kids. Everyone's concerned about the mental health of kids, then don't take their activities away.
Yeah.
That's a huge piece for these students is whatever their go-to is for their activity. And for us to be able to have those has been huge, has been a huge lift to them. And as we look back on this school year, I think we're going to find that was probably our biggest, most successful move was to be able to have school activities.
Gosh, well, what a great, just representation of the quote, right? You got your cup. You're gonna fill it with whatever you're able to. Maybe it's caffeine on a Monday morning.
It is for me too, right here.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody,
So,
cheers.
Cheers to a Monday and to the start of a good week. And hope that everybody has a terrific week. Stays warm out there. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you on our Love and Learn on Friday. And again in 2 weeks for another Monday motivation. So thanks, everybody.
Hey, appreciate being here.
Yeah, thank you.
See you Wednesday, Jen.
Yes, see you.